Hello again, whiskey friends. All right, today got a Nulu finished in Amburana barrels. If you've been checking out the channel for a few weeks here, this is going to be like the third thing that I go over tasting of finished in these Amburana barrels. If you're not familiar, they make the bourbons and rye taste like a churro or a cinnamon roll. I've seen other people describe it as cinnamon rolls, but man, it is so good. And I recently got this single barrel from Justin's House of Bourbon. It's a Nulu. I believe it's a 6-year MGP that was finished in the Amburana for a month. I am excited to crack this one open and explore it with you. Thanks for joining, whiskey friends. Let's kick off the show. Let's do the wax here. Got it. Let's get a fresh cork pop. Ooh, that's a good one. All right, I'm gonna pour this, let it breathe for just a bit. Let's kind of talk about what's going on here. Ooh, nice pour of some MGP. So if you weren't familiar with Nulu, they're a brand. I find it all the time in Kentucky. I don't know how wide the distribution is with Nulu, but they are sourcing bourbon from Indiana, from MGP, and they've been doing some really good finishes lately. They've been experimenting with a whole bunch of things. So I have a lot of Nulu. Apple brandy, toasted, double oaked, sherry. I can just go on and on and on with the Nulu finishes. Now, sometimes I guess I am hit and miss on these sometimes, because sometimes I feel like it's too young of a whiskey, and even if they finish it, I just can't get past the usefulness of it. But for the price, sometimes these are pretty good. This one ran $100. It is, 58%, so 116 proof, and that's a little high for the Nulus, but also with the Amburana finishing, that's going to be unique. And then the age varies, so the price can vary with the age. So sometimes the more expensive, the older the base whiskey is. But while I've been hit and miss on these over the last maybe year and a half, 2 years, I'd say the last year, I've been really enjoying them. Okay, by the way, the smell of this thing is taking over the entire room. All I do smell is the churro. So I'm getting excited to get into it, but it is literally popping off the glass. This glass is like 2 feet away from me here. So that's the Nulu. Of course, I'm excited to jump into it. It's MGP. But let's see if I'll regret not buying a backup of this one. We'll see. All right, so we're going to go into the nose, go into the taste, and ultimately see if I would recommend this. But once again, this is going to be like my third or fourth recorded tasting of something that's Amburana finished. This is one of my favorite new finishes. I've also got a Starlight that I can do a tasting on too, the cigar batch. So we'll just keep adding to the pile here as I drive home, churro notes everywhere. But the interesting thing is, I guess going into this, when it comes to bourbons at least, it does seem like the bourbon can't survive past the finishing. Like the finishing just takes it over entirely, and it creates a one-note experience. It's a very delicious note, but it creates a one-note experience. The rye did stand up to it, and there was a balance between the rye and the finishing. So what I get to find out on this one is if length of time or something about it, can the bourbon shine through, or just does it get dominated into deliciousness, but dominated? So now let's go into the nose. Man, that one, okay, churro note again, Taco Bell cinnamon sticks. Honestly, though, the Taco Bell cinnamon sticks may not work in this one because it is darker than that. So maybe back to a churro, more appropriate. I won't interchange the two, but it's a darker, sugary cinnamon note. Yeah, and if you're someone that says cinnamon roll off of this, no icing, but like the cinnamon roll, Maybe it even got toasted a little too long. You know, you kind of misjudged it by like just a minute. It just burned a little bit. Ooh, I got an apple coming out of that one. Getting some fruits. Oh, there's something else there. God, that might even be cherry. All right, there's some fruits coming out of it. Ooh, come on, something survive. Oh, starting to get some honey. Oh, I think this one might survive the finishing. Graham cracker. All right, the MGP's coming through. There's a dance. Ooh, this thing's real oily too. All right, let's go in for a taste. But this is all sugar, cinnamon, sweetness with some MGP. All right, we'll go front of the palate, mid palate, then the finish. We'll describe each one, break it on down. Okay. This one's about the finish. Up front, initially, it actually wasn't giving me too much. It was just a light vanilla sweetness. Wasn't packing a flavor bomb that I've had some of these pack. Like, it really punches you in the face. This one's actually subtle up front. Mid palate, it escalated, and then it went into the finish. All right, let's go in again. Okay. Oh yeah. There's a good balance here. There's the underlying bourbon is really trying to shine through in some really good ways. Mid palate is where things get interesting. So that cinnamon sugar note, that's just going to be essentially a through line. It doesn't pop as much initially on the front of the palate, but man, mid palate to the finish, that's just always going to be there. That's the baseline flavor with this type of finishing. Mid palate, getting this just really rich caramel. In addition to apples. I don't want to call it an apple pie, but kind of all the notes are there, but the breadiness is kind of missing from it, so it's not quite there. I mean, if you just scooped out the filling of an apple pie and slapped some ice cream on it, maybe? Gosh, it's not far from that. I'm gonna go in again for the finish. Oh, that was a deep churro. Oh, man. I just got all the fried dough on that, too. Hint of chocolate on the finish as well. Not as long, well, I would say not as long as a finish as I was kind of expecting, based off of my initial look of the glass here. But that cinnamon sugar is really hanging right now. Ooh, I just got a second wave. I'm gonna go in for one more sip. Oh man, I really like what the underlying bourbon is doing here. I wish the finish was a little longer. I'm gonna go back to the bridle and bit. So I did a video on this one, gosh, a month or two now. But this one's advertised as a double oak, but when you get into it, it's an Amburana finish. I'm actually wondering which one of these two I would prefer off the single barrels. Grab another Glen here. All right, grabbed a mash and drum Glen off of that one. Cheers, Jason. All right, I'm just gonna do a little nip to do a comparison here. Just trying to learn about this finishing and kind of the balance here. Now, this one is a little lower proof. It's 109 versus the 116, but the bridle and bit was 7 years versus what I think they said 6 years on the Nulu. Oh, man, kind of cancel each other out. Oh, no, the churro. Whoa. Oh, that's interesting. That richer, fuller churro note on the nose comes through way more in the Nulu than it does the bridle and bit. Okay. Oh, man. It's very interesting. You know, sometimes when I do these head-to-heads, especially when I'm purposely comparing something that's so similar, there's like this active division that's going on where things like cancel each other out, you know, in this equation as I try to compare the two. And the bridle and bit really got weakened in this comparison. The Amburana flavors in the Nulu are dominating so much that I actually can't even get those anymore on the bridle and bit, and I'm just mostly just getting just an apple note. I'm gonna rinse out and then do it one more time. Okay, that helped a little bit, but it is faint compared to the Nulu. The Nulu is much more aggressive. Yeah, that helped. Still, though, it's delicious, but this Nulu's winning this head-to-head. I don't know how long the bridle and bit is finished. This is stated on the label that it was finished for a month. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Man, I just love that churro note. Oh, yeah. Ah, for sure. All right, so this was $99 for this single barrel. Man, I wish I would have bought two. Then again, I'm buying too much bourbon lately, so it's better that I bought one. But I kind of want another one now. So if you were lucky enough to get this, I know some people that watch this got this and were paying attention when something dropped online. I don't think you'll be disappointed. But come back to this when you get yours. Go through the tasting notes with me. I'm curious to see what you think about this and if we agree and if you found anything that I didn't. But I'm just picturing the filling of an apple pie with some ice cream on top of it when it comes to that mid-palate, and then all churro on the back end. And then weak up front. That would be the other characteristic there. So curious to hear if you agree. But otherwise, no bourbon regrets here. Keep an eye out for these. They are dropping. People are finishing in Amburana, and it is delicious. So give it a shot. I'm telling you, give it a shot. Explore these. And they're going to figure out the time on it, too. I think that's the thing that I'm most interested in. Is it going to be 2 weeks? Is it going to be 3 weeks? This one's a month. Someone's going to find that special secret sauce that's going to make these just right. And I can't wait. Well, thanks for joining me for today's tasting, everybody. I'll catch you later, whiskey friends. Bye, everyone.